I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and
Nightwatch Zone.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So today I wanted to follow up to my last video talking about this crazy theory for Halloween Ends, the dream theory. I'm calling it the DREAMCATCHER theory. There are a lot of people that are intrigued by it or have an interest in it. Some folks are actually excited about it because of what it will mean for the entire Halloween franchise. But then there are some viewers and fans, rightly so, that are not happy about it. They think that it would be a bad move to do and so forth. So what I wanted to talk about is why it would work. Now, mind you, like I said in my previous video, I don't know if they would do this. I don't know if they would go to this length. It's possible. Anything's possible. We have seen a lot of crazy things in the Halloween franchise.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
By proxy, we've seen a lot of crazy things in a lot of other major horror franchises. So I don't leave anything to chance, but I'm not sure if they would go this route. There have been clues, though, that have led me to think that this is possible. And I've also heard from some of you viewers about how this could be very possible. So let's talk about that. Number one, why would this DreamCatcher theory work? Well, it would explain a lot of the inconsistencies in the Halloween franchise. And I think when you talk about the big three in horror, you know, Jason, Michael, Freddy, I think the Halloween franchise has had the most inconsistencies to its story. Okay. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. Some people don't mind it. Some people love it. Some people hate it. That's fine. Doesn't matter where you land on that. But the truth of the matter is we've had so many timelines. We've had a reboot. We've had a sequel to a reboot. I should say a remake. And now we've got this new trilogy from David Gordon Green. We've had Laurie Strode in these multiple timelines with multiple family members, children, and so forth. She's died twice. And now in Halloween Ends, it looks like she might die again. Again, for some folks, that doesn't matter because they enjoy seeing these different characters and continuing on with this franchise, continuing on with the mythology of Michael Myers. And that's fine. I fall in the middle of that. There's a part of me that does enjoy, you know, when it starts over and there's new things to learn about and so forth. But then there's that other part of me that misses some of those characters that haven't continued on and so forth. So anyways, but because of the inconsistency of the franchise, this DreamCatcher theory could tie everything all together. Now, some people have said to me, well, Halloween 2018 ignores everything after 78. So how could this tie up, you know, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, 5, 6, and so forth? Well, again, it's a dream. It's a fever dream or nightmare, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it the DreamCatcher theory. So Laurie Strode, in her dream or nightmare, these are all the things that she saw. You know, she could be in a coma for all we know, having these dreams. It doesn't matter. But all these events, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the Halloween 4 and 5 and 6 trilogy, H2O, Resurrection, the Rob Zombie movies, these are all things that were in her dream. So it's a way to tie all these things together, number one. And then number two, it can erase all of those things in the movie's mythology, not obviously not in reality. We saw those movies, we either loved them or hated them, or we were neutral. That's fine. But it allows the franchise to get a clean slate, and it allows the franchise to be restarted and make sense, through the movie's mythologies. Now we know that Jason Blum has said, Halloween ends. This is the end of the franchise, but we would be open to exploring more with Michael Myers in the future, so forth. Basically, they're going to make more Halloween movies. We know that. Like I said in my other video, and I'm sure all of you know, whether it's a few years, it could be 5 years, it doesn't matter. They're going to do it. This franchise so far with these two movies, 2018 and Kills, has made a lot of money, and Kills did really well considering it was released during the pandemic, released in theaters and streaming, and it still made a lot of money. So there is no doubt the Halloween Ends will do well with the box office, and because of that, they know they've got money. They've got money to be made. They will get back into these movies. So if you do this Dreamcatcher theory, it allows the new timeline that they will start inevitably. It'll be fresh. It'll be clean. You can do anything you want to do at that point because only Halloween 1978 will exist. That's one of the best aspects of doing this Dreamcatcher theory. Now, a lot of people don't like this theory because when you say, oh, well, it was all a dream and so forth, it's lazy writing, it's a cop-out and so forth. And I can agree with that. People have cited things like Dallas, how that was all a dream, or other shows. If you talk about Saint Elsewhere, that ended with the whole spoilers for everyone, that ended the show with everything that we had seen being the imagination of a boy and so forth. So I know it can be kind of lazy, but the difference with this versus those examples, were TV shows or sitcoms or whatever, and they had a long-standing arc. Halloween has had multiple arcs. The franchise, you've had multiple timelines, things that are going on, inconsistencies, Michael's being controlled by the druids and this and that, and it's all over the place. So this is a way that you could explain all of those things more so to the fans. That's a way to kind of explain it more so to the fans, at least putting it all wrapped up in a bow. And I think it's interesting. I'm not fully on board with it, but it's interesting. It's really interesting because no horror franchise, as far as I know, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, no horror franchise, at least no major horror franchise, has been able to clean up its mythology like this. I mean, if you watch movies, if time travel, if you look at Terminator or something like that, time travel is always the way to kind of reset things, or you got, it's just accepted you have multiple timelines. This is not a sci-fi situation. This is horror, supposedly based in, somewhat of a real world. That's the other thing too. Michael Myers is a man. Yes, he's pure evil, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, Loomis, I shot him 6 times. I know. But it's supposed to be a more realistic take versus something like Freddy Krueger, which is definitely supernatural. But if you look at Michael Myers, the things he's been able to survive and to keep going, I mean, the guy's been shot hundreds of times to keep going. And so you sit back and say, well, is he human? Is he not? Now, me personally, my thought on it, the way I look at Michael Myers, is kind of how Carpenter looked at him in '78. He's a man, but he's pure evil. He's the personification of evil. So he's like right at that line, that gray area between human and, above human. But the franchise hasn't always showed him that way, So this is a way to explain all those things as well, being that it's a dream, a fever dream from Laurie Strode. You got to remember, at the end of '78, she was traumatized as hell. Her friends killed. She was trying to protect these 2 little kids, Tommy and Lindsay. She was just a regular, teenage girl going through all this. So it stands to reason that she would deal with a lot of trauma, as was shown in other sequels in these different timelines. So this could explain that. You know, this could explain why she was having these dreams of the boogeyman, the myth, Michael Myers, haunted by him. So that's where I think that this could definitely work. It would explain all these things. If you watch these new movies, there are scenes where it does look like it's kind of dreamy. You look at the scene where she was talking about Michael being stronger and ascending and becoming more. You look at that scene when he was fighting the town and the way it was shot and so forth. Little things like that. So again, I know a lot of people aren't on board with this theory, but I want to at least explore it because it's interesting, and I like to have conversation about the franchise and its history, because it's had a lot of great history, but it's also had a lot of inconsistent history as well. But ultimately, this Dreamcatcher theory ties it all the way back to the first movie, which is what I think David Gordon Green understands. John Carpenter always wanted Michael Myers to be what he was in 78. And this brings it all the way back to that. We've seen in Halloween 2018 and in Halloween Kills that David Gordon Green is trying his best to homage to John Carpenter's vision, to respect John Carpenter's vision. And I think this would, again, this Dreamcatcher theory, this is a way to kind of explain things to the fan, to tie everything together, to explain this whole franchise. But to me, also in a way, is a way to pay respects to John Carpenter and say, hey, we're going all the way back to the beginning. And hopefully movies going forward, you know, when they revisit the franchise, movies going forward will be more in line with the vision that John Carpenter always had. Now, that's just my theory. I'm not saying it's right. It's just what I was thinking. When we heard that Jamie Lee Curtis said that this ending would upset people, one of the first things that came to my mind is it didn't happen. It wasn't real. It was a dream. And so that's what I'm going with, guys. But anyways, there have been really good conversations that you guys have been having in the comment section. Please keep them coming, because I think that this is really interesting, and I'm hoping that we can continue to figure out different things together. So please give the video a like. That would help support the channel, and it'd be much appreciated. Comment down below. Let me know if this is really a bad idea, or if you're starting to think about the positives that it could bring. I know it's considered lazy writing, but again, this is about a franchise that is almost 50 years old, with multiple timelines, multiple deaths of these characters, including Michael Myers himself. So this is a way that you could explain everything, get a fresh, clean slate, so that we can start over inevitably when they come back to the Halloween franchise years from now. So anyways, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Nightwatch. Peace out.